welcome back to my channel, The Midwife Life. Today's video is going to be me telling you all about the interview process, writing your personal statement, applying. I applied through UCAS, so I'll be telling you a bit about UCAS, and some tips and tricks for interview. So I've just realised that I wrote everything on my phone, all my notes, and it's on my phone. And I'm filming with my phone. Good one, Karis. Good one. Personal statement for midwifery has to be quite specific. It has to be for midwifery, whereas a lot of the other courses can be, the personal statement can be quite generic. So that is one tip I have to give you. If you're torn between, like, because I know quite a lot of people that I know, they were torn between like nursing and midwifery, whereas writing their personal statement they found quite difficult because they'd applied for nursing and midwifery. I definitely give that piece of advice to you, is to try and decide. I know it's hard, but try and decide before you start writing your personal statement exactly what you want to do. So you want to kind of introduce yourself, introduce why you want to become a midwife, and then go on to say about what you know about midwifery. So in my first paragraph I wrote a little bit about why I wanted to become a midwife, what I'd gone through in my life that made me want to become a midwife. So I'll read you my opening sentence, because sometimes I know that can be really hard for some people to get an idea of how to start it. So I'll read you my opening sentence. Obviously do not use it word for word, because copyright and blah blah blah. But so I wrote, as a result of my numerous interactions from an early age with expectant mothers, babies and young children, I have developed a keen interest in the process of pregnancy and the care needed for both mother and baby during the antenatal period. And then I go on to say how it's not all about delivering babies, it's a whole shebang. So within your personal statement you want to write, you want to demonstrate that you know the role of the midwife, 6 C's, you want to demonstrate all the skills that you've got that relate to the 6 C's and relate to the role of the midwife. And experience is big. I'm just going to kind of list them and then I'll go into a bit more depth. Yeah, all the experience you have, why you want to become a midwife, a bit about your academics, but I'll get more into that in a minute. You want to maybe add in an area that you're interested in and you're passionate about. So the 6 C's, know them off by heart. Care, compassion, competence, communication, courage and commitment. They are the 6 C's, learn them, know them, and know what each of them mean. You do, link it back, transfer the skills over to midwifery. Explain how that would help you be a good midwife. That kind of links to experience. So in your personal statement you want to write all the experience you've got that could help you, again, be a good midwife. So for example, I put in there about me doing DV, gold, bronze and silver. Very weird order to say them in, but you know. I did all 3 and I wrote about how they helped me gain skills that would then make me a good midwife, or help me to become a good midwife. So I linked it to commitment, which is one of the 6 E's, and courage and competence, being able to do the navigational. It's just basically anything that you do, link it back, because it will link. You will find a way to link it. You just got to make sure that you explain it and expand on your points. It's like writing an essay. It's really like basically an essay. Okay, moving on. Experience, but brilliant. Experience, brilliant. Karis, we've said that about a million times now. Academic wise, like writing about your academics, like A levels or college or GCSEs, things like that, I would mention, but don't go into too much detail, because obviously you'll be entering all your academics, like all your academic side of things, onto UCAS itself rather than adding it into your personal statement. So I did mention it slightly. I mentioned about how doing my A levels taught me skills that I could, like transferable skills, for example time management and becoming an independent learner. But I literally wrote I wrote 3 sentences on that, so it's really nothing, you don't need to write anything too major. I keep going back to experience because just literally my whole personal statement is pretty much my experience and then how that links. Yeah, so it is just showing how you demonstrate all the 6 C's and all the skills needed to be a great midwife. I have repeated myself so many times in this video, so I apologise. I also mentioned confidentiality, because that is a key point in midwifery, try and add something in there about one thing or an area of midwifery that you are particularly passionate about in. Like, so I put breastfeeding, and I also talked about biological nurturing as a way of alleviating that stress, because it's the laid back way of breastfeeding. And then I do like an ending sentence where I say, you just kind of wrap it up. That is pretty much the overview of what you want to put in your personal statement. So in terms of the interview process, I was terrified. The things that I'm about to say to you, I was like, I'm never going to be able to do that. I'm never going to be able to remember that. I'm never going to, no way. That's it, I'm done. I'm not going to be a midwife. Do not have that attitude, because you can do it. So lots of different unis do lots of different things. So I applied obviously to 5 unis, and kind of each one did different thing as their interview. Some did MMIs, which are multiple mini interviews. So these are like stations, and at each station you get asked a question or you have to do something different. This could be things like, I don't know, one station could be a scenario, one question could be, because I know for one of mine I had to teach somebody something, so I taught someone some sign language, a song in sign language. One was a maths quiz, one was an English, and I think they also wanted me to demonstrate how I knew the role of a midwife. But that's MMIs. Some unis do a maths and English test. Most of the maths tests are calculator, so don't stress too much. And it's because they need to know that you're capable of it, because obviously we're doing drug calculations and stuff. Some unis have group activities. So for example, one of the unis that I went to, we had to do a big group thing, like a group scenario, and then we'd have an individual interview. I personally thought I'd completely messed up the group interview. I didn't really say a lot. I just sat there, listened, agreeing, pitching in like a little tiny bit, and then I thought, right, that's it, I've screwed this. I went down to my mum and I said, Mum, we need to go because I've just messed that up. No, we're going. And then my mum talked me down and she was like, no, just stay for the individual, it'll be fine. Just show them how great you are in the individual interview. And I was like, okay. I was reluctant, but I said okay. And then I went into the individual interview and they were asking me questions. I was going bam, 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 and they offered me an unconditional place there and then. It's never as bad as you think. So yeah, just stick with it and be more confident in yourself. I'm a sucker for that. I really, really do underestimate myself. I have this presentation on Wednesday. I am terrified. I don't know why it scares me so much. I hate talking to people. Yeah, I'm here, obviously. I don't really know how that works. My brain does not link the dots. Everyone is lovely. Literally every single person I've met at interview are lovely. They do not want to trip you out. They want you to do well. They all want you to succeed. They want you to show them how good you are and what would make you a great asset to their course, their cohort. They are not trying to trip you out, so just be yourself. So some of the things they might ask you about are, they're checking that you know the role of the midwife. So they might ask you like, in this situation, what would you do as the midwife? So they're just checking that you know what the role of the midwife is. And again, like I said in the personal statement, know your 6 C's. Know them off by heart, what each of them mean. How many times can I actually say They may also check your personal statement, check your knowledge about your personal statement. So read your personal statement before you go to the interview, because I know a couple of my interviews, they asked me about something in my personal statement and asked me to expand on it. I'd also look at the news, so keep an eye on the news, because a couple of people at my interviews asked me about what was happening in the news, for example. So yeah, they might ask you like research-based questions and just things that you might want to know are things like what's happening in the news. Research a bit about, like, I don't know, the places you might be working in whilst on placement there. Well, just do a bit of research, background reading. Nothing. They're not expecting you to know loads at all. They're not expecting, because that is what you're going to uni for. You're going to learn how to be a midwife. So they're not expecting you to know everything about midwifery. But just have a little bit of basic understanding and do a bit of background reading. Make yourself stand out. So having lots of examples to back up what you're saying. So for example, going back to the personal statement, think about the experiences that you've had, and things that you say, have examples, make examples. Some obvious stuff: dress smartly, arrive on time, and just be yourself. Know why you want to be a midwife. Have a clear thing that you're going to say if they say why. Because even if the interviewers don't ask you, the candidates will. Your other candidates, the other people at interview will ask you. Pretty much every single person I met there asked me, well, so why do you want to be a midwife? You're very young. Why do you want to be a midwife? So have a clear thing in your head of what you're going to say and why you want to be a midwife. Some of the common questions are, what is the role of midwife? They also asked me at a couple of interviews, they asked me, what type of places can you get your evidence from? So midwifery is a very evidence-based career. So you need to have references and evidence and knowledge, background knowledge. So when you're talking to a woman, you can actually say, oh, this is evidence, this has been researched, this is like correct information, I guess. So they said, what types of places? So they just mean, when they asked me this, I was like, what? I don't understand the question. I think it was more like, because I was nervous. But they just literally mean like books, textbooks, articles, journals, websites, NMC, know a bit about the Nursing and Midwifery Council, the code, know about the code, research, NMC code, read it, learn it, live it. That comes up a lot. How you will cope with pressure. So they might give you a scenario and say, how would you cope in this situation, what would you do? So that's pretty much it. Hopefully you got the gist of it. I hope I helped and explained a little bit, but yeah, it's pretty much similar to what you're writing in your personal statement. You're just going into a bit more depth. So I'm going to see you next week. And yeah, thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next week. Bye.